what it is. Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real treat for you. Kelly O'Connor's in the house.
Absolutely.
What's happening?
How are you, man? It's good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you bet.
Folks, if you guys have kids going to college, you might be spending too much money. Not because what a lot of people say is they don't even need college. What do you say about those people?
Well, there's truth to that. But we're not going to get away from those families that want to send their kid to college, right? So for those that want to send their kids to college, then
that's where Kelly comes in.
That's where I come in, man.
And folks, you can follow this dude at Kelly D. O'Connor.
Yeah.
I don't have my readers on.
Yeah.
Kelly D. O'Connor. That's his personal Instagram. Or just go to College Money Academy at College Money Academy or collegemoneyacademy.com. And obviously you are an expert at basically when people want to go to college, you save them a shitload of money.
A ton of money.
How did you discover this?
I was at an event years ago. I'm a life insurance expert. That's my trade primarily.
How long you been doing that?
I got licensed in 94.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of money in life insurance.
There is. There is a lot of money in life insurance if you do it right.
Yeah. Have you made a lot of money in it?
I have. Yeah, I've been very blessed. So I just flew back 2 days ago from Lincoln, an insurance carrier out there, a small insurance carrier is having me train all their wholesalers. They're rolling out some whole life products and they have a goal. And I thought their goal was ridiculously low. We're going to train their wholesalers how to coach their producers to blow up their insurance premium. So
well, that's another VT application.
That is another VT application without a doubt. But so I was at a convention and I attended this breakout session for college planning. And what this lady was doing was, it's referred to as a MEC. It's a modified endowment contract where you just shove capital one time into an insurance policy. And she was doing this to get the assets off the radar screen of the FAFSA form, which is the free application for federal student aid. And she was doing that from a standpoint of it's going to help your calculations and make it look like you don't have as much as you have, so therefore you'll pay less. But what I discovered was for most of the clients that we worked with, their income alone knocked them out of that. So even if we transitioned all of their assets, it made no impact really. So I thought that was yet just another ploy that people use, as I refer to them as false marketing hooks, to try to sell life insurance. So I wasn't a fan of it. But over time, I started, as I dug into that, because I was very intrigued by the college planning piece. For one, I had 4 of my own kids that were, at the time younger, and I knew this storm was coming. But what I discovered was there's a major problem with the government's involvement, and the government will never get out of the way. If a politician proposed to eliminate the government's involvement, that would be political suicide for them, right? All they would do is run ads and just say, hey, they'd run ads of someone who's benefited from student loans, blah, blah, blah. And the government will never leave this. So because the government provides all this money, the schools wait to see what you do. They just wait to see if you accept their loans. So
the government's loans.
The government loans. So there's all kinds of negotiation that can come into this.
As opposed to what? They wait to see if you take that money before they do what?
Before they make an offer, because they've got endowment money that they can utilize as well. So as I started to uncover this, I'm like, this isn't about just selling a life insurance policy. These families need help. And I was helping this couple, I was involved in helping this couple, and it turns out they were a principal and a head of post-grad at a big charter school out in Colorado. And the wife sat back and said, can you help our parents with this? Because the biggest concern they have is how in the heck are they going to pay for this? So we showed up, there were 150 families present, and I had like 50 little call sheets. I'm like, we're a little ill prepared. But because of that got us into all these charter schools that were like, can you help us? Because this is the main concern. All these schools are just doing college nights, like how to complete your FAFSA, how to get your kid approved. But the problem was, how do we make this happen? This is a $60,000 expense or a $40,000 expense. And in even cases even higher. So we started to work our way into all these schools. And for a while, Brad, we thought we were sitting on a gold mine because we're these life insurance guys. And all these schools are marketing for us and getting us in front of parents, been in front of thousands of parents. And we would bring them in, we would teach them how to reduce the cost, which I'll get into here in a minute, how to reduce the cost. And then we were hoping to offer our financial services to them. So we were sitting on a production gold mine. All these schools are marketing, for us, and we just show up and talk. But this bridge was very difficult to cross. We weren't getting any financial clients. And we realized, one of my buddies said, he goes, Kelly, you're giving away the gold to get the salt. You need to just teach families how to do this on its own merit. So that's when I created College Money Academy, and I stepped away from wanting to do something from a production standpoint in the financial service world. So that's where College Money Academy came from, was we just need to educate families on how to do this, period.
Well, it's also a way to drive that same business you were looking for originally back to it, because once you have that education-based trust built, now you can have any conversation with them.
100%.
And I don't know if your College Money Academy does that, but sounds like you're just teaching them and you don't even bring that up again. But you should think about at the end when they're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There's some other things we could also show you and just start bolting those on. Because what I've learned in some of the insurance space is there are some good, smart, sound financial things you can do with policies.
100%.
And I think, all the wealthy, successful people that I know to a large degree have some sort of vehicle in the insurance space.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But nobody knows about them. And then when you're talking to a sales rep or a financial planner or a life insurance guy, you feel like you're being sold.
Yep.
So when you go in there and you help them do this and you're saving them money, you're building a relationship, and it's all about relationships. Once you have that relationship, you can pretty much bring up and show them a million other things because they have that trust for you.
Yeah, without a doubt. 100%.
So if you're not interested in doing that, then what I would say is I'll help you get like millions of college money academy students. And then when they're done, when you're done helping them, just send them back to me and I'll sell them life insurance.
Yeah. Well, we're also creating the financial advisor portion of this, because we can teach advisors how to do this. So if they want to reach out to their database, their clientele, provide additional value, it locks in that relationship even more.
You know what you need to teach them?
The assets under management for them, which is really good.
Well, that's another benefit. But do you know what else you could teach them? Marketing.
Oh, without a doubt.
You can make millions if you just knew how to market and get those people.
Yeah, for sure.
So you were doing it, you noticed that, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm just going to step to the side here in a minute and quit worrying about that and start helping people with this. And then what happened after that?
It was a long learning curve, because I'm an insurance guy. Now all of a sudden I'm learning marketing funnels, right? I'm learning I'm in a totally different arena of coaching, right? So it was difficult. It really was quite a challenge, because I'm just an insurance strategist. And now all of a sudden I've created a new entity and I'm trying to get that thing promoted. So I learned a lot. Whenever I'm talking to marketing people and they know I'm a life insurance guy, I can sit and totally talk shop just because of what I have learned from trying to promote this program. Eventually honestly, Brad, we tabled it. I have coached so many people for free. It's crazy, just because I feel very obligated to help, and I get referred by people, certainly.
Where do you get that from?
Where do I get what from exactly?
Obligation.
Oh, well, if I can be very honest, which I know I can, when I was 19 years old, I had a vision, literally, and a dream that completely knocked me backwards and affected me for a lot of my life. And I finally believed I understood what God showed me, and it was millions of people that I get to help. Millions of people that I was paraded through. And so I feel very obligated to help people, and everything that I do with my life insurance program, with my agent training and train agents and agency owners how to drastically increase their premium. This is why this insurance company hired me to do that. It's all about helping people. And College Money Academy is 100% just about helping people. So I feel I just can't not do it. If I'm sitting out with Maria and one of your gals out front and she starts talking, she has a kid, I just feel obligated. I don't care if I'm on a plane, if I'm somewhere, have you ever looked at this? I want to save you tens of thousands of dollars. I've had many women just cry, because of what we've done for their family to make something like this possible. So it comes from just it's how God, he put the message on me, literally, just how I'm wired with it. I've got to help them.
Are you real faith-based?
I am, yeah.
And have always been?
No. When I was about 26, I was the complete opposite of that.
Because you don't look like a life insurance guy.
Yeah.
You look like someone, like an entrepreneur that is making beard oil or beef tallow. Which coincidentally, he does have the best beef tallow beard oil I've tried. Supposedly all the bearded fellas, because I don't have a beard. Yeah. But I'm going to put it on my face, and I'll tell you whether it's the best or not.
Oh, yeah, be honest.
I don't know the difference. How do you know the difference? By the way, what is it called?
Rugged tallow.
Rugged tallow.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's got a cool logo. I know that.
Yeah.
But how do you know the difference between tallow? How will I know if it's good or not good? Other than, because it's all on your face. Like,
yeah.
I got beef tallow on my face right now.
Yeah. It's the initial product. It has to be the beef suet, S-U-E-T. It has to be the fat that's around the kidney. It's not just regular fat that you can use for like cooking. So,
but don't all the beef towels do that?
Most of them do. If they're producing something for your skin, if they're not, it's not quite as good. But some certainly can, because it's a heck of a lot cheaper just to get you can get 4,000 pounds from a processor of just your normal beef fat. Right?
When did tallow come into civilization here? It's like
ancient Jewish time.
It used to be like almost like a miracle, anti-ager, et cetera, et cetera. But now lately, I've been seeing beef tallow.
Yeah, it's
what brought it back?
Popular.
Do you think?
Well, I just think this kick of of doing natural stuff, right? I mean, you look at, if you're eating whole food, plant-based, you're eating well and your body's helping you. If you're doing carnivore diet and you're eating good stuff from a good butcher, your body, is giving you the benefits of it, right? Is one better than the other? No, they're both very effective. It's just which one can you actually implement and maintain, right?
That's the key right there.
That's the key.
Because, I'll tell you, dude, most people don't understand, like, that diet doesn't work. That diet works if you do.
Yeah.
Most diets, I think, work eventually, but the problem is like you can't maintain it.
Yeah.
I've done diets where it's like, I'm not doing that forever. Yeah. I started doing recently intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit works.
It works great. Yeah, I've done that a lot too.
I got 50 grand for my 6-pack.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I didn't really do much more than I've ever done my whole life except for that.
Yeah.
So when you're like, well, what changed? Well, the only thing that changed is intermittent fasting, because it is easy for me. I don't know why. People are like, how do you do it? Like, bro, it's so easy.
Yeah.
I wake up, I grab a cup of coffee, I go to the gym, I work out, I start to think maybe I'm hungry, and I grab a cup of coffee.
Right.
And the next thing you know, I can eat.
Yeah.
It's time to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm still eating whatever I want to eat, but I cleaned it up. In other words, no processed, no carbs. Not when I say no, I mean vegetables have carbs, but no garbage.
Yeah.
And no sugar.
Yeah.
And when I say no, there's sugar and ketchup. I'll still have ketchup.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll still have ranch dressing. I'll still have blue cheese. Matter of fact, my favorite meal is a New York strip and a blue cheese wedge.
Yeah.
People are like, that's not diet food. It is for me.
Yeah, right. It's good.
So I can maintain that forever. Yeah, and I literally will do it forever. So I don't think anyone will ever see me chunky again.
Yeah, right. No. So I do carnivore. I have since July. That changed a lot for me.
Carnivore works for me well too.
Yeah.
Carbs, for some reason, I eat carbs and it's just boom.
Dude, I gain 5 pounds that next morning. It's crazy what it does to me.
So you are an entrepreneur also.
Yes.
And 100%. I got a lot of, masculinity following me.
Yes.
So a lot of them have beards.
That's why it's rugged. Rugged Revival is the men's line. We got this whole toxic masculinity thing is for the birds. I don't
understand where that came from either.
It's just
toxic.
Toxic.
You mean a dick?
Right. Yeah.
You mean an abusive dick?
Right.
Is that toxic masculinity?
Right.
Because those words don't go together.
No, they don't at all.
Masculinity.
Yeah.
And the opposite of that, I would assume, is femininity.
Yeah, 100%.
So you either act like a dude or you act like a chick.
Yep. 100%.
Because isn't a girl feminine?
Right.
Or they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
What about, but I don't want to get political because then we might get suppressed and we
won't be here for a long time.
we won't be seen or heard.
Yeah.
But folks, Rugged Revival.
That's men's line. It's Rugged Tallow is the main product.
So that's anybody, even females?
Well, we got Rugged Renewal for the ladies.
Rugged Renewal. Why would they want to be rugged?
Well, if you'll notice on any of these trends, this tallow thing happening on TikTok and stuff it's always the ladies. And so I'm like, you know what? This stuff works for us guys. I use it for my beard. I love this stuff.
It works too, because I use it, not yours yet, but I use it. And I'm telling you, like,
it's great.
On occasion, I'll have to go like this because it feels a little bit shiny, but I got lights on me all day. Yeah. But
you're not greasy.
No, I'm not greasy. And it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll put it on my elbows so I don't have the ash elbows.
Right.
And like my face, like, seems like it has less fine lines.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an old man, but I have less fine lines. Right. And I've only been doing it maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
However little one jar. And by the way, a jar lasts forever.
Right.
That's what you got to figure out, is how to make them get bigger scoops so your reorders are faster.
You're right. Well, your box that I gave you has a little, like one of those ice cream sample spoons. So you can actually spoon the stuff out. Because,
dude, I mean, this little thing that big of beef tallow lasted me like forever.
Well, you have 4 4-ounce jars now.
So 2 years later, you'll see a reorder come through. But I'd say anyone with a beard, anybody with skin, anybody with concern for anti-aging, dude, go get his beef tallow, rub it on your face for, I'd say, 3 months.
Yeah.
It's only been a couple months, and I can see a difference.
Yeah, you will reorder it.
And my face looks fresher.
Yeah.
Like I've forgotten to put it on, and I'm looking in the mirror, and it's almost like, I don't know if it's drier or what it is, but it just doesn't look as fresh.
Yeah.
So whenever I use that beef towel, and again, I don't know the name of it, so, and you're probably happy about that because you don't want me to say it, but yours, where do they get it?
RuggedTallow.com.
RuggedTallow.com. I'd recommend everybody go try tallow, especially if you're into anti-aging, but even if you're not. Yep. So you're an entrepreneur also.
Yep.
Is that the only other thing you do? Tallow?
Yeah, other than the insurance stuff and the college money academy stuff.
But your passion is helping families
100%.
Not pay as much to send their kid to school.
Yep.
Do you believe in kids going to school?
I do. I'm kind of on the fence a little bit, but it's not going to go away. That I know. It's not there. I believe in it if you are pursuing something specific. You know, we need engineers, right? We need doctors. We need nurses. My wife's a nurse. We need, if you're just going to get a communications degree and you're thinking that, this is going to be the best thing ever, you can come work for you and learn more about communications than spending $50,000 a year at some school. And you got to take, Western civilization, little prerequisite classes, right? But it's never going to go away where education is needed, and the government will never get out of it. They won't. They can't. So
too
this
profitable.
problem is going to 100%. It's way too profitable. So this problem is always going to exist. So there's 3 rules. Might be a good one to transition to. Number 1, you must ignore the sticker price. So as families, I worked with this lady actually. I do some work with the Soul Children of Chicago. I offer my services for free for them. I don't know if you saw that choir of young kids at the DNC that was in Chicago when they did the national anthem, and they just slayed it. I don't know if you ever saw any of that video clip, but they did the national anthem, this choir, and it was
not if it was at the DNC.
I know, right? The only reason I saw it is because they sent it to me. Okay, I'm the same. But it was awesome. I work with that guy, his name's Dr. Walt Whitman, and I offer my services.
Yeah, Walt Whitman, I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's an author, but Dr. Walt Whitman is a Grammy Award-winning, music choir guy. He's awesome. But he takes these kids from Chicago, and what he offers them over the course of high school is unbelievable. These kids are amazing students. So I've been in front of all of his parents a couple times, and I offer my services to them. But this one lady, she was not going to, I'm not going to say the school specifically, they weren't going to apply this $90,000 university because the price tag, so they were not ignoring the price tag. She didn't want to disappoint her kid because there was no way. I mean, she couldn't even make a $30,000 school happen. There's no way she could do that. So I said, you're violating my very first rule. You have to let the school have a chance. Your kid's an exceptional kid. Let's see how bad they want you, right? So number two, they're going to lowball you. The schools lowball you on their financial aid offers. So in the fall, they admit you. Congratulations, you're admitted. You might get a little merit-based award if you're kind of an exceptional kid, potentially. Then in the spring, the financial aid awards come out. They always lowball you unless you are this elite student, which of course there's a very small percentage of that. So the majority of families, they get a congratulations letter and they're offered a few loans. And they wait to see if one, you can afford it, or two, if you just accept the money, right? Well, what families don't know is point number three is you can appeal it. So I've always taught families that at college is just like comparing a Starbucks to a garage sale. If you and I went into Starbucks and we ordered 2 coffees and they say $8, we don't lean over, you don't lean over the counter and go, come on, man, give it to me for 3, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah. You pay the $8, but we could walk to a garage sale and see something for $8 and go, I'll give you 3. College is no different. Parents think it's a retail sticker price, and it flat out is not.
Yeah, so that's the real secret right there. Because at the garage sale, they what do you call it? Dicker.
Yeah.
They dicker.
Yeah.
Is dicker still a word?
I think it is today.
I know I used to use that when we were selling cars, because like when guys would like be not nice, and they'd be and then they say, well, I got to get my wife, which was a common thing. I'd say, well, go get her, bring her back, we'll dick her.
Yeah. And they're like, what? Yeah. So point 3 is if you've done the homework that we teach you how to do in our academy, you are aware of what their average offer is. And almost always that comes back.
Where do you get the data, though?
It's a public site. It's collegedata.com.
Huh.
It's a completely public site. It's free.
I would have never have guessed you can... what am I? The word I'm looking for? Negotiate. I didn't know you could negotiate.
Nobody does. So.
And how often does it work?
Oh, that's a great question. Of all the families that I have done this with, if they've followed my process, that's the key. I have never had it not work, not one time.
So they bump it every time.
The only time it hasn't worked is when I've had a family come to me and it's like, Kelly, can you rescue us? Our kid has to go to Baylor, right? This is the only school on the table. It's the only school on the table. We have to make this happen. I'm like, you're putting all of your eggs in here. This might not happen. They might not accept your number 3 appealing their decision. But okay, let's try it. And I provide them the letters, and then they reach out and go, oh, it didn't work. Like, well, yeah, it's because you didn't follow the process, for one. You didn't do your research. You didn't know if your kid was an exceptional student for that school. You didn't understand what their offers were in the first place, and you didn't have any other options. You didn't have any other choices out there. It's like online dating, I tell people. You could swipe right on 10 of them, right? And not all 10 are going to go, oh my gosh, you're my next date. But one of them likely will if you've swiped right on, some quality ones that are an opportunity that are a decent match for you.
Yeah.
So if you have these options laid out and you've done the research on it, then when it comes time for that opportunity, one of them will want you. The only thing that they can do, they can't put you in a suite, like your kid doesn't have the top floor of the dorm, right? They don't give you season tickets with an extra parking space for Saturday football. The only thing they have is money. That's it.
Do they have a lot of it?
They have a ton of it. I was just going to go there. I one time was presenting at a school and I had this guy raise his hand. Of course, he had to identify what he did for a living. Like that was going to have credit. He's like, first of all, I'm a CPA. I'm like, wonderful, right? Congratulations. And
I would have said, sorry about that.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, I don't know. I know you're challenging me. The very fact that you had to make sure everybody knew, and I knew you're a CPA. And he goes, I just don't think the schools have this much money to do what you're talking about. And we were in Colorado, and I said, all right, well, I just happened to study the financial documents of the University of Wyoming, right, like the week before this. I go, they had, at the time, a $454 million endowment. The University of Colorado has $1 billion endowment. And I said, take a guess what the percentage is of revenue for that university that comes from tuition. Of their overall revenue, how much comes from tuition and fees? He's like, at least 35%. This other guy's like 60. No, maybe 20. Well, according to their financial documents, it was 8 to 9% of the overall revenue. So tuition and fees for virtually all universities represents a very small piece of their overall financial pie. But that's where they get the people. They have information like insurance companies, actuaries have. They know that if they invest in this number of kids with this much, they know what's coming back. They've got that data. So it's an investment to buy a quality partner, almost like an owner. I mean, who isn't proud of the school they went to? If you went to K-State, you're a Wildcat. You went to KU, you're a Jayhawker. You butt heads forever, right? I was just in Nebraska. I went to KU. And I'm like, I'm in enemy territory, guys. I'm 53 years old, and I'm having to make jokes about being in enemy territory. This stays with people. These colleges know this, and they are willing to invest in you. So getting back to the story of that inner city Chicago kid, they applied. The mom's nervous, and I've got both of them on the phone. I'm like, don't be nervous. Let's give them a chance. We got $85,000 off. She's sending her kid to this elite school in California for only $5,000 a year.
Wow.
And now I told them, they're all excited. And I go, think about this. I go, could you imagine being a businessman if I said, I love you guys. I think you guys are amazing. As a single mom, working hard as a substitute teacher, I want to bless you with $85,000 a year to send your amazing kid to school. You guys, I'd be in the news. LeBron James does this. He always gets in the news. I'd be in the news that I'm helping this family to the tune of, $320 some odd $1,000 a year to send this wonderful kid to school. This is exactly what the college just did for you. So when you wear those letters and you walk on campus, have that same kind of pride and confidence. This is how much they wanted you. This is real. This is real money.
What if they really kind of didn't want you? They just wouldn't have went that?
Correct.
Okay.
So when it was time for my oldest to go, we had 7 schools that she had meticulously researched. We appealed 3 of them. One of them didn't respond. All right. So what if that was our only one? Some people would say it didn't work. Well, it didn't work with that one school. Another one came back with $5,000 extra. Well, that could have made all the difference. That's $20,000 over 4 years. That could have made all the difference in the world. But the other one came back with $14,700. That's the one you're going to, kid. So once you look at a couple other factors, I spent $3,400 a year to send her to a major D1 university. I could have put it on a credit card if I wanted to.
Dude, I mean, that's crazy. Like most people would be like, how did you do that? Well, that's what you're teaching.
100%.
But is it always that ridiculously different? Because if I'm being told $80,000 and now I'm paying $5,000.
Yeah. Well, that was an exceptional kid.
You should be operating on how much I save you times what you owe me.
I knew you were going to go there.
That's what I'd do. It's like, dude, if I save you $80,000 a month, just kick me $20,000 a year. So now I make $80,000 commission.
Right. Everybody has, every business person I've talked to about this has said you ought to do that. So then you look at it. How could I have made that happen for that substitute teacher, single mom out in Chicago? Hey, you owe me $8,000. 10% of what I saved you, or $8,500, whatever.
Well, that's where God comes in.
There's no way I could do that. So I have not been able to price it that way in any way. It just hasn't been able to work. But so getting back to your question, does it always work? It's never not worked one single time when a family has followed the process, has learned how to package their kid, has learned all the different things that the kid can do to help them stand out. So my daughter wasn't this elite kid. She was a 3.4 GPA. She had like a 22 on the ACT. She played JV. She never played varsity, so she wasn't some stud athlete. But it was how she was packaged. Instead of 25 hours required for community service, she had like 1,400 hours, right? When you learn how to package your kid and what separates the kid from other people, now they're an above average student because these colleges are liable to the city. They want quality kids. It's not just you're smart. Congratulations. I worked very closely. I had a program that I worked with a private D1 college, and I got to sit down with their head of enrollment and some of their other enrollment officers, because we were working on this project together that we were doing for a school. And I got to pepper them with questions. And they're like, look, man, if you come in and you're the really smart one, great. We have a lot of really smart ones. But if you're not quite as smart, at least by the numbers, but you're packaged like a boss, you're the one we want. So if we know how to package that way, then we know how to research. So yeah, maybe you're not packaged for Yale or Stanford, But let's just say Colorado State University in Fort Collins, you're an exceptional student for them. That's going to be one of those on the list, because what are we going to expect? An average offer from them? Hell no. What are they going to offer us? An average offer? Yeah, probably below average. Then we go after them again. And it's amazing what happens. I had a guy call me. I was helping him. He had triplets, and they've been freaking out about college since the ultrasound, right? Like, oh boy. And he calls me O'Connor. I'm cooking. And he had my number, and it's him. And I answer the phone. I'm cooking dinner, and I get this, O'Connor. I'm like, what? He goes, dude, we got 30 grand. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Back up. So the first kid got a full ride, brilliant kid. The other two were exceptional kids. They applied to a different college, but the same one for the two of them. They sent the letter directly to the director of financial aid, which I instruct them, not the financial aid officer. And the letters are great, and I provide those letters for people. And the director of financial aid called and said, we're going to do everything we can. And they offered $15,000 a year per kid. He's like, with the full ride and now $120,000, you could hear in his voice, he's like, we have enough. Not only that, we can go to football games. We get to go up there. We could buy the kid a TV if they move into an apartment, you know. That's how it should be. So at that point, then college is, I think it's worth it at that point. The kid's getting the experience, for one. There's an experience being in college, kind of growing up, slowly moving into the real world. You got to do your own laundry, you know. But they're not paying through their ass to try to make this possible. And they're not, as this lady that kind of kicked this all off, who was the lady that was the head of enrollment, or the head of postgrad at this high school, when she said, you got to come speak, she said this to me. She goes, there's nothing more disappointing professionally for me than when a kid has earned the opportunity, but mom and dad can't make it happen because these costs are just absurd. Well, let's help them. If they have been that exceptional kid, let's make it possible for mom and dad. And I have countless stories about that. And I've had people reach out and go, I need your help. My son's exceptional, and there's no way we can do this California school. Can you help us? Yeah. I could show you emails. I just got an email from her. They've got all 4 kids through with no debt. And she's like, if I ever meet you, I'm hugging you hard, you know?
So you would think you would have discovered this because yours went and you were getting robbed. And so you did all this work and you figured it out. You figured it out before all that.
Correct.
Just by accident? I mean, how did you know, hey, you can appeal this? Like right now, if I were going to put my young ones in college, did you get admitted? Yeah. Cool. What's their tuition?
Yeah.
90 grand. Cool. I wouldn't even know to do anything.
Yeah.
And not only that, as you're talking, I'm thinking, you got to sell your kid to the college. I didn't even know you packaged a kid, because now it makes sense though. Cause like you got to make them want your kid more. Yeah. Well, it's just a kid. What about those people? They're like, it's just a kid wanting to go to school. Like, how do you package a kid?
So there's
like they did community service.
There's a lot of strategies. So here's one that I love on some of these resources that we provide in our system. Every school has a little checklist of multiple characteristics, like what's your level of interest for the school? How are you ranked in high school academically? What are your extracurricular activities, employment, etc.? Sports, just all variety of characteristics. There's like 20 of them. And then they label them very important, considered, and not considered. So every school has different X's.
Yeah.
So one simple mistake.
Which are like filters.
They are. So one simple mistake families make, because they have their kid write an essay. Well, you have the ability to write your essay, but then go in before you submit it and tweak it. Tweak it based upon what they said what's very important to them.
Oh, are they telling you this?
Yeah, it's the information you can get. So instead of just an essay like, here's little Johnny, well, in some cases, your desire to go to that school is very important to them. In others, it's just considered. So you would say something like, little Johnny's been wanting to go to Baylor for his entire life, yes, because his father went there and his grandfather went 100%. There. 100%. So then your essay hits them. They're like, man, this kid fits us perfectly, right? And it's only because that information exists, but parents don't know you can find it. So little strategies like that, when it just simply comes down to the essay you wrote. But what I kind of always have demonstrated like a stair step. So it doesn't matter if you're in Chess Club or Future Business Leaders of America or whatever. If you're in any club, You just gotta like one step higher than kids who don't do any clubs. So if you're in that club, be the secretary. You don't have to be the president. Do some form of leadership. You just slowly moved yourself up against all the other kids that are just in the club. And so just pay attention to these things because you're literally getting paid. Any volunteer time you're doing, anything you're doing in clubs is almost like having a job. When we're talking 15 grand that your family or you is going to have to, not come out of in the form of debt or additional cost over the next 4 years after that, there's really no difference than just being paid. So this resume building piece is not just getting admitted. And see, that's where most college planners, this is kind of what I exposed in my own research. Most college planners who pay $2,500 or you pay $2,500 or $3,000 for, their job is to package your kid so the kid gets admitted. Congratulations, I did my job. Your kid got admitted to all 8 schools. And mom and dad still goes, well, we got to wait till the spring for these financial aid offers. Crap, this one, oh my gosh. And then they almost always go to that lower cost because it's just ridiculously expensive. Or they go, okay, you can go to Baylor. We're going to deal with it later. I've had so many families. I have a dad right now that has $250,000 of Parent Plus loans. And he's 61 years old.
Heavy duty.
I could have got that for maybe 40.
What are the terms on those loans?
Oh gosh. I don't even fully know, to be honest with you, are the terms. I hate those things. So I
always talk to people with loans and they're like, oh, there's no getting out of those. Like apparently like those things, you can't BK them. You can't do anything. Like they're getting their money, which is crazy because again, you would think if it's legit, I wouldn't loan you money for something I know is not going to work. So if you come to me for a business loan, you say, Brad, I want to borrow $100,000. I'm going to open up a restaurant and we're going to serve turd sandwiches. Yeah. I'm not giving you the $100,000 because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get my money back because I don't think that's going to be successful.
Right.
Colleges know that degree is not necessarily going to produce a return. They just know that kid's going to work somewhere, somehow, some way. Everyone has to work. Yeah. So I think they're doing it, like you said, because they know they're getting their money. And even if the kid picks a degree or a field that's worthless, I'm still getting paid for that money. Yeah. That's almost like guaranteed return.
Yeah, for sure. And they don't care really. If you're the one that goes into debt for it, they got paid.
Yeah, and it's not the degree.
But the one that they invest in, they do care about. So that's where the packaging is important.
Why are they investing? They don't get repaid?
No. I'm saying that's if the school, because when we appeal, it's basically the school bellying up some money. That's
for free? That doesn't have to be repaid?
No, that's almost always gift aid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, you're talking to someone who didn't go to college, number one. I don't come from the college family world. I come from, beards and bikers and blue collar. Yeah. So I don't know of anybody in my family that went to college, including me, unfortunately. Yeah. And if I went there, it was to find girls.
You're right. Yeah.
but I also, ended up doing okay. So when people ask me, you want your kids to go to college? I say, yeah. And they're like, really? That's surprising. But I want them to go for the experience. I want them to go for the relationships. I want them to go for the experience. Yeah. But mainly the relationships, because the people you meet at college, it could be your spouse, could be your future business partner, could be whomever and whatever. But that's why you would go to college. And not only that, if I were a kid, like if I could reverse time, I'd go to college. But for those things, right? That piece of paper, no, I don't. Pointless. I don't believe that piece of paper. Yeah. I'll hire you here for any job. I don't need to see your degree. And not only that, I don't even care if you have one. And quite frankly, I bet you there's people that said they did that don't. Because back when I was applying for jobs as a youngster, before I found my ethics, when it said, do you have a high school diploma? I'd check yes. They never asked to see it. Right. Good thing, because I didn't have it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, people are surprised to think or to hear me say, I think kids should go to college just for that maturation or experience, and more importantly, relationships, and the degree and the the fulfillment of completion and the responsibilities that they learn, and et cetera, et cetera. So yes, I think people should go to college. What I didn't know, because I got 3 little ones, one of them seems like she's already ready. She's only 11, but I'm going to make sure they're going to college.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you could do that. And because I have money, I wouldn't even have checked.
Well, and see here, that's what's interesting is for those who have the money, what they are told, this is what the financial world says, is don't even bother. You won't get any aid.
Exactly.
Don't even bother.
So you're not only looking for people that can't necessarily afford it. If I were you, I'd be looking for even the richies that can, because it's like, dude, if your kid's going to college, you need to come to me.
100%. So you mean to tell me, Brad, just because of your success, you get the privilege of spending $80,000 a year just because?
Yeah.
No, go through the process. What if we knock it down to 40? Are you opposed to that? Maintaining 45 grand of money?
Hell no.
Well, here's what you
I don't want to go in there looking like I'm applying for food stamps, though.
Well, it has nothing to do. Yeah, okay, I get that, but you're not. It's not looking like anything. You're just going through the process.
Well, with your program, yeah, but I wouldn't have known. So if someone would have said, "Hey, I can go in there and we can get an aid," and I don't need aid. It's almost like a pride thing. Like, bro, I'll just write the check.
Right.
But if you served it up to the richies different, like, what if? Because again, my thought would have been, I'll just pay the fee. What's the fee? 90 grand. Oh, I thought it was just 90 grand. I didn't know you could negotiate.
That's 100% what happens with all those who have the ability. They just pay it.
But if you told me, Brad, I can get you a program where it's only $30,000 to the school, and then you can put $60,000 in this policy, and by the time she graduates, See, again, now I'm like, I'll do that one.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, we can figure out a way to get those policies back in there.
Yeah.
But to me, even if you're rich and you don't care about the discount, you would better put that money somewhere else, like a TV, like the apartment, like her living quarters, like safety.
Yeah,
you know,
buy them a car when a deposit on a condo for them or something.
Yeah. So everybody should basically go to College 100%. Money Academy if they have an interest in sending their kid to school.
Without a doubt. I had somebody go, Kelly, what's your goal with this? And I said to be run out of business. I would love nothing more because I know it can happen. I know that, what was Steve Jobs' little goal? He said he wanted to flick the universe or something like that. I want to completely flick the college system, because if we had 10,000 families going not good enough and appealing all these schools, something would change. And if they finally said, hey, appealing's not allowed anymore, then that means I empowered that many families to have caused them to have to make a change.
You're probably basically not even scratching the surface.
Right.
We got to get College Money Academy known about.
Correct.
Because the only reason they're not coming to you, bro, is because they don't know about you.
Yep, 100%.
I never would have went and found you. And by the way, if I Googled, how do I save money on college? Are you ranking and popping up? And
I'm not sure about that particular search necessarily.
Because there's people typing that in, but they're looking for YouTube videos for people to give them secrets. Do you have YouTube videos out?
I do.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about marketing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, people think marketing is running Facebook ads.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that is also marketing, but no, man, there's all kinds of marketing where you could literally take clips of this video, put it on YouTube, keyword it correctly. And when someone sits down and goes, how to save money on college tuition, this clip comes up. You said what you said. Now they're looking up College Money Academy. Yeah. Bang.
Right.
It's like, that's marketing.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like,
it's a no-brainer.
There's no reason not to.
It's 100%.
And how many kids do you think go to college every year?
I think there's 1.7 million.
Is that going down or no?
It is a little, but it's not like it's all of a sudden 800,000.
And it doesn't matter if it's online or campus.
Yeah, I don't know this. I don't know that stat as far as like of that 1.7 is that it include online or not? But
because I think online is going to grow.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
People rural, they don't have time. The dorms are full. Whatever the case is, if I can get my degree from a laptop, me the kid.
Right.
I still want to go to college because there's no girls on my laptop.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would think if you asked a kid, do you want to go to school or be online? You would think the kid would say,
yeah,
I'll go to school. There's friends. There's all this stuff I can do. But as a parent, I'd rather them do it online. Why? I don't want you around that nonsense.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of nonsense.
Because you think everybody's all prim and proper at these schools.
Right. Yeah.
You ever been to some of these parties?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was a DJ. So I DJ'd every fraternity, sorority party at the University of Kansas for 4 years. So, yeah, been there.
Yeah, so when people say, you didn't go to college, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
I just didn't attend classes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had that too a few times.
Well, again, back in those days, like, you go to those college parties, dude, you were in like Flynn with the females. So it's like, I don't want my daughters going to college for that reason.
Right.
Like, oh,
the MRS degree, as they call it, I think. Right?
Huh?
The MRS degree.
So it's just, you don't seem like like I would expect you to come in here in a suit and tie and clean shaven and, you know, glasses.
Yeah, no.
Well, the fundamental principles, Brad, if you want to do this and do that. But you look like, you know, why is the whole, like rugged tallow? That makes sense.
Yeah.
You're a guru in helping people save money going to college. Like it doesn't connect for me. I'm trying to figure out at what point, and then I'm like, maybe it's kid. Nope. So it's just life insurance led to college planning. You started looking at it. And what was the catalyst where you said, wait, because how did you know that you could appeal? I never would have known that. They say, hey, we can give you 10 grand. I would have thought, do I want it or not?
Yeah.
I didn't know I could say,
I mean,
I want 15. How about 20?
I don't specifically remember, but it was years ago. And we just started implementing it and it worked. So I can't really point to anything and go, this happened and how we learned it. But
how many families do you think you're helping?
Oh, I've helped thousands of families. Yeah. So again, when we averaged 15 or 5 years, the average was like roughly 15.8 of a reduction. You know, we're just over 15 grand.
Do colleges not like you?
It's funny. I was on Fox 31 out in Denver, so I got to sit behind in the morning behind the desk. That video is posted up on our YouTube as well. They had me on. I was with the 2 anchors, and that stuff's hilarious. Every break, they're just on their phones, and it's like 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back. It's really funny. But so the guy, when you can see in the video, he's like, so we got Kelly O'Connor with College Money Academy who claims that college is negotiable. He's like, come on. And he looks over at me, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's completely true. So I mentioned the university that I had, or I didn't mention actually the university. I just said there's the 3 rules. I went through those. Ignore the price. They're going to lowball you, and then you can appeal it. And so then I didn't know this until I was done, but they put this gal named Paula. She's the consumer advocate, right? So I was her story for the day. She's like, can I interview you? And I'm like, yep. So here comes the lady that's going to either prove I'm full of shit or not. And I knew that I wasn't, so I had no reason to stress about it. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I was her news story. So once that broke, then for the rest of the day, they ran Paula's story, and she went to the university that, unbeknownst to her, I had partnered with, and I had sat down with the head of enrollment, and they even came and watched me speak at a high school. So I'm telling all the parents at this high school, at this time when they were visiting and hearing me talk, and the head of enrollment is just jotting notes down, and she goes to stand up, and I'm like, well, this lady's either going to make me look like a fool in front of all these parents, and she stands up and she goes, I just want you guys to know what you learned tonight is completely legitimate, and I was like, well, that was great. I knew it was anyway because of the results. But they go to that university, this Paula, consumer advocate with her camera, and interviews a guy in the enrollment office or in the financial aid office. And she goes, so we've learned today from a gentleman, parents should ignore the sticker price. Is that true? Oh, absolutely. He's like,
no, let's drive that. So sticker price would be their fees.
Attendance. Yeah.
So their fees, let's say, are published, I assume?
They are. It's called the cost of attendance.
Okay. So cost of attendance says $80,000. Forget that.
Ignore it completely. Don't even pay attention to it.
So that's just their retail asking price.
That's correct.
And they negotiate those all the time.
Correct. They want you.
See, I wonder how many people are listening to this that are like, dude, I got robbed.
I have had so many people go, damn it, I have $80,000 in debt. I wish I met you before. And just like in that line from Dumb and Dumber, when or not Dumb and Dumber, Liar, the liar when Jim Carrey, where he has to tell the truth, and he's like, I would have got you 10, whatever. I'm like, I would have, you probably would have got out with maybe 20 in debt total.
Which makes a huge difference, especially when you're out in the workforce.
It's absurd. Kids are getting out. Parents are getting out with mortgages, additional mortgages. It's absurd.
Okay, so ignore the sticker price.
Ignore the sticker price. So,
I hate to interrupt, but I have to, or I'll forget. Ignore the sticker price to what degree? Like you can't assume, Yale's 190 grand a year. I can get that for 10. Like like when you go to a car dealership, everyone knows, ignore the sticker price.
Right. Yeah.
You go buy a gallon of milk. If you told me you can negotiate a gallon of milk, I'd be like, bullshit.
Yeah. Right.
But if you could, again, that'd be that.
You have to ignore the sticker price.
By how much though?
All of it.
You have to have a guide.
The guide is their average offer. That's your guide. So you know what they on average in merit and in need-based aid offer.
So that's posted somewhere?
It is. It's right
They just don't know to look for it?
Correct. Yeah, they all of it. All the schools post that information. And parents don't know that so I go through that with families. I'm like, look, they're like, oh my God. I go, yeah, you just got an $8,000 offer. Look at this. They tell you on average, they give out 17 if they really want you. They lowballed you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's empowering. I had a guy tell me, he goes, it's like having the cost sheet to the car dealership before you walk in. I'm like, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Your negotiation would be different if you knew that data. Right.
Okay.
Completely. So she then mentioned she's got the microphone and the camera, right on this guy that's in the admission or in the student aid department, and he's smiling, right? Because all of a sudden he's got Paula in front of him with the lights and the camera, and she goes, we also learned today that the schools lowball families on their offers. And he went, oh God, no, we don't do that. No, you can count assured that our offers are great. And my wife Brenda, who's sitting over here, she's like, is that bad for you? I'm like, it's great for me. I go, what do you expect him to say? He's not going to go, absolutely, we lowball guys all the time. He can't. He has to say that no. And then she said, he also mentioned that you can appeal the decision. And that was the one I was hoping he wouldn't go, oh, totally false. We won't accept those. He went, oh, absolutely. We are absolutely willing to work with families on that.
How much time to appeal?
So that's one of the components of our program. And when it hasn't worked, and when families come to us and it's like March and they're like, oh my God, what can we do? I'm like, well, we could try it. Let's send this letter and see what happens. So in the fall, if you're ready, then the admissions, you get approved. That's great. And then we're ready. We're ready to go. We're waiting for that financial aid offer. We already know the numbers. We know their cost.
Why do they wait so long?
They're two different departments.
Okay.
The financial aid department and admission department are blind to each other.
You'd think they'd marry those up and say, hey, congratulations, you're admitted. Here's your options.
Yeah. So the admissions can offer merit aid right out of the gate. But financial aid, they're blind to each other. So the financial aid then takes over in the spring. So we want to be ready, and we're ready. So that offer comes, we analyze it, we know it's low, our appeal goes out, right? It's always written from the kid because their relationship is with the student, not the parent. So it's the student advocating for themselves, which if they're packaged well, that looks really good too, right? So, here's
Is it the way you word these things?
100%.
So you're teaching them the finesse too.
Correct. Without doubt.
Because if you just respond, hey, no,
right,
you're not going to get very far.
Right.
So it's how you say it.
Any chance you do more? Right.
That's what I would have done.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, someone told me this is negotiable.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And they would have said, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
Ah, damn.
So this is why you have multiple options. This is why it comes down to the research. So you ignore the sticker price, but you've done the research to know that academically your kid is average to above average for that particular school. They post that information too. And you know what their numbers are. And if you've done that well for 8 to 10 schools, one of them will want you. They're in competition with each other.
Yeah.
They are. They have what's called a yield rate, right? In sales, it's your closing ratio. They have a yield rate. How many they admit, and then how many actually enroll. And that ranges between 17 and 30% for your average school. Your Yales and Harvards are like at 70 or 80%. If you get approved, they are going to make it happen, period. Yeah. You still don't pay full price for that unless you're you and you don't know you can do that and you just write the bill for it, right? That's crazy foolish. But most schools are 17 to about 30% of a yield rate, meaning if they're admitting 10,000 students, 1,700 to 3,000 of them actually enroll. If their yield rate starts to drop, that's a problem. They have a product. They need butts and seats.
And they're probably getting money other ways from governments and all this other stuff.
Correct. So getting back to your predatory lending piece that you mentioned, I had a single mom with a zero expected contribution, meaning when she funneled in her income and assets, it showed on paper she could pay nothing for school. So then there's a lot of aid, right? Then she's the one to where people say, you need to go through the process because you're going to get a lot. An offer came back with nothing except a $25,000 Parent Plus loan. So this single mom.
That's a loan.
That's a loan. So this single mom showing she could not pay $1 was offered $100,000 over 4 years. And they would have given it to her.
The school or the government?
Government. That is the definition of predatory lending.
For sure. Well, we already know I mean, I don't know how you feel with the government, but dude, the government to me, I wish they'd just go up there and make sure everyone's following the rules that like the federal rules, and just pay attention there. Like I do want people to follow rules, but as soon as they start meddling but I think we all are cattle, and the government is like, in other words, I think we're their customer
100%
when we should be their product.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It totally does. I've used that same analogy. That's what 401ks and IRAs are.
And that's why these lobbyist groups that, you know, can we put red dye 515s in the Fruit Loops? They're like, sure. Yeah. Why? Well, because eventually that's going to get some revenue going. And that makes you a guinea pig. I don't like customer. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, I see it. It's like, we have a Food and Drug Administration. First of all, why is it food and drug? Why aren't those separated? Number one. Number two, they're there to make sure everything's legit and nobody can poison us and do that. But then it's like, well, why would you allow that? And why would you allow that? And then, okay, so let's say y'all screwed up. You're stupid. Why are they unfireable? Like, why don't we just replace them? Like, put some people in there like that are ripped. Like, oh, what's his name? Kennedy. Yeah. You know, he's saying, hey, this shouldn't be in our food. Like, why can't we, if we're in charge, which we're not, why can't we say, yeah, we want that representative up there for us? They're like, well, you can wait for next election. See, this is just bullshit. So I'm not a big fan of the government bureaucration.
I can't stand
I'm the fan of law and order. I'm the fan of, you know, pay your taxes. I tell people, dude, don't try to get out of paying your taxes. I'd pay your taxes. Like, I'm proud to pay taxes, but then I find out, well, where'd the money go? Right. No transparency there. Well, none of your business. Well, it isn't going where I thought it went. Like, anyway, don't get me started. Question for you would be, because I'm always thinking about marketing, especially if you have a VT system. So I'm thinking, okay, number one, it sounds like it's too late when my kid's applying for college. It's too late. I should have packaged him when they were in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, right? When do you start packaging your kid?
You need to start thinking about it, certainly in 8th grade, as they're stepping into high school.
Well, again, but if you told me, Brad, this is what you're doing to your kid, well, it's too late because they're there. Well, what I should have done and what I should have known is this, but when they were in 7th grade. Because I don't know, because I don't have those parents. Do parents know how to package a kid? And, you know, you better join the booster club. Well, I hate the booster club. Yeah, but it's going to look good there. Like, I know there's certain, I call them beaver cleaver families where the parents know that. Right. But the majority of the parents don't even know they're supposed to be packaging their kid. Good grades is all I knew. You want good grades. That's it. Yep. I didn't know you're supposed to be volunteering and community service and all that shit. I didn't know that. And again, you might be like, well, Brad, you're the only dipshit that doesn't, because everybody knows that.
No, nobody does.
But if you reached them earlier is all I'm driving towards. Like, if there was a program that was free, you have a system, you could deliver it free to millions of people in multiple languages, and they come in, you're almost grooming the parents, because in 3 or 4 years, they are going to need to be here. Now, if you'd have told me now, this is much easier then. Right. Make sense?
100%.
Sounds like by the time you're telling me, it might be too late. Like, dude, your kid should have freaking been volunteering. Well, I didn't know. Well, you know, let's hope they like this, because you're teaching them stuff here that saves them a bunch of money successfully. So that's cool. Well, how do we make that even better? Yeah. Well, teach them here. Yeah. And do it for free, because I may not be willing to pay for that, because I don't even realize it yet. But if I saw an ad, or I saw some sort of marketing, or I heard you on a podcast, and you said, hey, listen, if you're one of those parents where your kids are definitely going to college, I've got a course that will show you exactly what to do over 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So 10th, 11th, and 12th is easier, and then 10th, 11th, and 12th is really what they got to be tight on. And you're not aware, take my course. It's completely free. Embedded within that course would be College Money Academy, when it's time. And now you just start basically creating a massive amount of people. Yeah. It might take 4 years to return, but 4 years later, Kelly, you'll have so many people you can't even imagine because you created them.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's perfect, actually. And part of the academy fits that incredibly well. I mean, if we opened up the how to package your kid module, and then
that's what I would call a lead magnet.
Yeah.
I mean, you're familiar with marketing, so normally I got to explain to people a lead magnet is something you give them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of things you can do to help the cause. Let's just say.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Why are you so passionate about that though? Like everybody's passionate about something, and you're passionate about saving people money. Why? What happened?
I think it's because that's a great question. I think it's because of the results. So, for example, we were having breakfast. We live in Castle Rock, south of Denver. And we're leaving, and some dude's waving me down. He's inside. We are outside on the patio. And with the reflection of the glass, I couldn't really tell who it was, but someone was trying to get my attention. This guy heard me talk at a high school, and then he asked if he could meet with me, and I met him for coffee. I spent 45 minutes with him at coffee. That was it. I just armed him. Gave him the letters. He was what we refer to as late stage college planning, what you were just talking about. If these families come to us when their kid's a senior, that's late stage planning. We can only do what you've done, right? There's nothing else we can change. So let's see if we can make something happen. And so he was late stage. It was the beginning of his kid's senior year. So I didn't see this guy for months, might have even been, a year or two. And all of a sudden, someone's waving me down, and I tell Brenda, I'm like, hey, I got to go step inside real quick. And it's him. And he's having breakfast with 3 other guys, and I see him immediately. And I'm like, well, hey, dude, how are you? He's like, this is the guy right here, this guy who saved me $20,000 a year. And I went, what? Are you kidding me? You never told me that. Why don't you reach out to me? He goes, yeah, dude, you saved me $80,000. And I walked out, and I got the biggest smile on my face. And this guy heard me talk, and then I spent 45 minutes with him privately, and he deserved it. He's always kind of worked in the church. He's not some dude with tons of money, and that's amazing. I mean, this couple, his family, I told you, now they've got 4 kids through. Their kid had all kinds of health issues, but he was an amazing kid. What he accomplished, the way he got through high school and the package that he had, he was an incredible kid, and he deserved my time. She used my language. She sent me an email and said, hey, Kelly, I need to appeal the cost of your academy. And I'm like, oh, this girl's, like, let's go. And she told me this story, and I go, you have my attention. I'm sending you a login. You've got me privately, right? So I offer me privately now, but people got to pay for that now. It's like, otherwise, I mean, I can really only help maybe 50 families privately, individually. But I changed the course of this family, like literally. And I don't do that to pat myself on the back or brag. But that feels really good when you're looking yourself in the mirror.
Sure it does. That's why I started Lightspeed. My whole story is kind of similar. I helped a minimum wage worker learn sales and closing. And he had a great family. Like his family was like, man, they're so freaking wholesome and pure and helpful. And, I helped them, and I watched how just a little bit of money changed their whole family. And I said, man, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and go help people make more money. Yeah. And that led to this. So it's like helping people is the answer. The question is, why are you passionate about it? And your reason is the same as mine. It just felt good watching what that impact had on that family. Yeah. And now looking back, I think that's the catalyst. When people say, what was the catalyst? I stopped trying to help myself. Right. Because when I quit and went to do that, it was 100% not selfish at all. In other words, I didn't think, I can make a lot of money. I thought, I'm going to start this so I can help that happen.
Yeah. I mean, how can I not? I mean, if I get introduced to you and I'm meeting you and you and your wife are a couple that has a quality kid and you don't know how you're going to make it happen. How do I just sit there quietly and go, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to share it. I have to help you. Like I can't escape it. And there have been times, honestly, to where that's been frustrating. Even just my own self kind of takes over. I'm like, I I have got to monetize this in a different way, because I'm very passionate about it. And it's not that just every time I'm just all jovial about helping people, because it's amazing. Ultimately, at my core, that is the case. But I have been in front of so many people, successful people. I've been privately in different things, and around some big people, and they're like, "How are you not a household name?" I'm like, "I don't know.
You're gonna be. Trying. You're going to be starting with the bomb squad, folks. Yeah. Hey, if you're going to college, or if you're sending your kid to college, or someone who is, collegemoneyacademy.com. I'm sure you can contact you there. If you guys want to follow him on social media, at Kelly D. O'Connor, just like it sounds, or, hit him up, DM him at College Money Academy, as at College Money Academy. Yep. Either one you answer, yeah?
Correct.
And then, folks, take that step, save that money, put it somewhere else, invest it, or go get the rugged beef tallow and quit being a wrinkly old son of a gun. Absolutely. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
And it's good people like you that make the world a better place. So good job. Good job. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, folks, as always, until next time, keep it real.